Power Book 3 Raising Kanan Season 5 Episode 7 serves as the true point of no return for nearly every major character. Fittingly titled Penultimate means second to last, the episode does exactly what a penultimate chapter should do. It strips away every remaining layer of protection around the characters and leaves them facing the consequences of every decision they have made throughout the season. By the ending, there are no more compromises to make, no more alliances to rely on, and no more family bonds strong enough to prevent the inevitable showdown waiting in the series finale. The biggest moment of the episode is unquestionably Marvin's death. While shocking on its own, what makes this scene so important is the way it happens. Marvin is not killed during a chaotic shootout or an argument that spirals out of control. Kanan makes a deliberate decision to execute his own uncle. That distinction changes everything because it shows this is no longer the young man who occasionally lets emotion cloud his judgment. Earlier in the season, Kanan accidentally killed Lulu, a tragedy that haunted the Thomas family and exposed how dangerous his growing ambition had become. Even before that, he attempted to kill Rack, but there was still hesitation. No matter how angry he was with his mother, a part of him struggled to completely erase the family bond between them. Episode 7 shows that hesitation has finally disappeared. By killing Marvin, Kanan does not simply eliminate another obstacle standing in his way. He rejects the last meaningful connection he has to the family that raised him. Marvin was never just another member of the organization. He was one of the few people capable of keeping the family together whenever everything else began falling apart. His presence often balanced Rack's calculated leadership with loyalty and experience. Removing Marvin means Kanan is no longer trying to change the Thomas family from within. He is actively destroying it. That is why Marvin's death represents far more than another casualty in a violent criminal world. It marks the exact moment Kanan fully embraces the ruthless identity that fans know he eventually becomes. Throughout the series, viewers have watched him slowly evolve from an impressionable teenager into someone willing to make increasingly darker choices. This episode completes that transformation. What makes the scene even more powerful is that there is no sign of regret after Marvin is gone. Kanan understands exactly what he has done and accepts it without looking back. That emotional detachment is perhaps even more frightening than the murder itself, because it shows he has reached a point where family no longer influences his decisions. Jukebox experiences her own turning point during the episode, although her motivations are very different. Her storyline revolves around Famous, whose death has continued to weigh heavily on her. Believing Snaps and Pops are responsible, she decides she can no longer wait for someone else to deliver justice. After realizing Kanan is unwilling to help, she takes matters into her own hands. When she finally confronts Snaps and Pops, they deny having anything to do with Famous's death. They even claim they barely knew him, attempting to convince her that she has targeted the wrong people. Whether they are telling the truth ultimately becomes irrelevant. Jukebox has already convinced herself they deserve to die, and nothing they say changes her mind. She kills both of them, bringing her revenge mission to an end in brutally decisive fashion. This moment reveals how much Jukebox has changed over the course of the series. Earlier versions of the character might have questioned the truth of their claims or searched for more evidence before acting. Now, grief and anger have become powerful enough to override caution. Like Kanan, she reaches a point where violence becomes her preferred solution. Although Kanan and Jukebox both become more dangerous in this episode, the reasons behind their actions remain fundamentally different. Kanan kills because it serves his long-term ambition and helps eliminate obstacles standing between him and the future he wants. His violence is strategic, calculated, and emotionally detached. Jukebox kills because she believes she is delivering justice for someone she loved. Her violence grows from pain rather than ambition, even if it ultimately leads her down an equally destructive path. Meanwhile, The episode quietly dismantles everything Rack has spent years building. Her criminal empire has already begun collapsing before Marvin's death. Flossie has severed ties with the Thomas family, and Pino is no longer part of the equation. Long-standing relationships that once provided stability have disappeared, leaving Rack surrounded by uncertainty. The criminal underworld immediately recognizes this weakness. Power has always depended as much on perception as reality. Once rivals believe an organization is vulnerable, attacks become inevitable. Every enemy waiting for an opportunity now senses that the Thomas family is no longer untouchable. Marvin's death makes that situation dramatically worse. For years, Marvin served as Rack's most reliable enforcer. Whenever negotiations failed or force became necessary, Marvin was the person capable of handling the problem. His loyalty was unquestioned, and his presence discouraged many potential challengers. Without him, Rack loses far more than a trusted ally. She loses the person most capable of protecting her as the walls close in. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of the ending is that Rack does not yet know Marvin is dead. While viewers understand exactly what has happened, Rack continues operating without realizing the final pillar supporting her empire has already been removed. That dramatic irony creates enormous tension heading into the finale because it is only a matter of time before she learns the truth. When that moment arrives, everything changes. Until now, Rack has continued viewing Kanan through two identities. He is both her greatest threat and her son. Those conflicting emotions have repeatedly complicated her decisions throughout the series. Marvin often acted as the bridge between those worlds. He understood Kanan while also recognizing when firm action was necessary. In many ways, Marvin represented the last remaining buffer, preventing the conflict between mother and son from becoming completely irreversible. His death removes that final layer of protection. Once Rack discovers that Kanan deliberately killed Marvin, there will be little reason left for restraint. The emotional conflict that has defined their relationship will almost certainly give way to survival. At that point, neither side can realistically expect reconciliation. The title penultimate means second to last becomes especially meaningful by the end of the episode because it reflects exactly where every character now stands. Kanan has fully embraced the ruthless future awaiting him. Jukebox has crossed another moral line in pursuit of revenge. Rack has lost nearly everything that once made her powerful. The Thomas family's influence over Queens continues to collapse as enemies move closer from every direction. Every storyline has reached the point where turning back is no longer possible. Looking ahead to the series finale, the episode leaves viewers with one unavoidable conclusion. The final confrontation between Rack and Kanan is no longer simply likely. It has become inevitable. Both characters have reached a place where compromise is impossible. Kanan believes destroying the old order is the only path forward, while Rack has devoted her life to protecting the empire she built. Their goals can no longer coexist. The finale is no longer about who is right or wrong. It is about which vision of power survives. Episode 7 succeeds because it transforms years of family tension into open warfare without relying solely on shocking deaths. Every major decision feels like the natural consequence of choices made throughout the series. Marvin's murder is not simply there for shock value. Jukebox's revenge is not included only for action. Each moment pushes the characters closer to becoming the people they were always destined to be. By the closing moments, the Thomas family has effectively destroyed itself from within. The trust that once held everyone together has disappeared, loyalty has been replaced by betrayal, and the final chapter promises a confrontation that has been building since the very beginning. No one remains standing between Rack and Kanan, and with both determined to fight until the end. The series finale is set to deliver the ultimate collision between a mother trying to hold on to her empire and a son who has decided he is willing to burn everything down to create his own future.